Well, it looks like it just kicked me out, man. But we're back. It just kicked me out. It was like, all right, that's enough of that. That happens sometimes when I'm working with someone one-on-one too. Hey, Sarah. Hi, love. I'm glad you found me again. Hi, Denise. Welcome, love. Yeah, it's weird. Like sometimes when I'm working with somebody one-on-one and we actually get to something that's deep, that's like a deep wound that they have, an energy that we need to clear, or that's a deeply held belief, or that's like a truth that they're needing to bring in and to accept. Their technology kind of goes wonky. I have a client that I used to work with, and she lives in the Bahamas. And every single time we would connect in energy, her dogs would start barking and they would go crazy. It's funny, like sometimes animals respond to energetic healing, sometimes technology responds in weird ways, but yeah, it can be really wild. Hi, Andy. Yeah, but so we were talking about love blocks is the thing. And the thing about love blocks is that, sometimes they come up and they're blocks about like, I'm not going to be able to have that. I'm not going to be able to do that. Like love is something that is for other people. It's easy for other people. But for me, like the stars have to align in the perfect way. And it's like everything has to be like the gods have to smile on me the right way. And, love is going to be easy for other people, right? But it's hard for me. But you don't make love happen. You make love welcome. You make love welcome. And the way that we do that is through our energy. The way that we do that is by healing, like taking time, not going on dating sites. Like we don't need to go on dating apps, right? It's like people were meeting and falling in love a long time before dating apps existed. But we feel like that's the only way to connect. And it's actually kind of like impersonal, right? Like there's a lot more ghosting that happens when we're meeting people online than than when we're meeting people when we're kind of what's it called, when we are there's a word for it where it's like we're part of a community, right? If we meet someone who's friends with our friend or whatever, it's like it's much harder for that person to actually ghost us. If we meet someone who's online and we don't know them from anybody else, people have a sense of anonymity, where it's like dating apps, it plays into that sense of anonymity, and people do things that they wouldn't normally do. They have less empathy, they have less, they feel less connected to the other person. They don't think of the other person as a real person that's there with feelings, and that, is it the feelings that are important and like someone who matters. It's just it can feel very cold and disconnected, right? Andy says, I agree. You have to be and show love in order to welcome it. Absolutely. Yes, it's so true. Connection does happen so much better in person. Absolutely, Andy. And it's the thing too is that when I'm working with my clients, so 90% of my clients, almost 90% of my clients are in happy, committed relationships within about 6 months of us working together. And I like to say I specialize in tough cases, and I'm really good at what I do. So the thing about the dating apps is that when I'm working with my clients, most of the clients that I work with don't even connect with their soulmate through a dating app. I'll tell you the 3 ways that they actually end up connecting after they've healed the heartache and the things from the past, after they have straightened out what they believe is possible for love. Like we've cleared out beliefs like I've got to change my body in order to have love, or I've got to settle in order to have love, or love is hard for me, or I can't have love and money, or men are intimidated by me because I'm well educated and well paid. Like when we have beliefs like that, a lot of that stuff, we need to go into energy and clear that stuff out. And we have to bring in beliefs that are like, love can be easy for me. It's okay for me to have everything that I want. It's okay for me to have everything that I want at the same time. You know, it's safe for me to have love. It's possible for me to have love. I'm ready to have love. I know how it feels to have love every day. We bring in all of these kinds of beliefs in the work. And then they attract the person into their life in one of three ways. And it's not online dating. It's not online dating. And if you look around you in your life too, people that you know, you will find that this is something that you see really, really often, right? It's the reason why my clients don't just attract the love, but actually sustain the relationships, you know, because they change and shift in energy, and it's just easier for love to come in. So what they see is either it's someone from their past, and that person shows up in their life in a new way. So an example from that, an example of that would be somebody like, you know, a while ago, maybe it was someone from high school or someone from college. You didn't know that person was into you like that. You just didn't know. And somehow you run into each other, you connect, and it's like, oh my gosh, there's spark, there's chemistry, and then you can be together. Or somebody that you were used to always thinking of as a friend before, but when they show up in your life now, they show up in a new way where you notice them and you think about them in a new way. So that's the first one. Someone from your past, they come back in a new way, right? Or, and Sarah, you're right, there is no accountability on the dating apps. It's like the Wild West out there. You know, it's so weird. The second way that people come into your life without online dating is that it's someone who's, once you clear things in your energy and kind of do like an energetic upgrade, right? So that you don't have these obstacles and these other beliefs and even energetic cords to someone else. Those are things that we clear out too. Or vows of marriage or vows of chastity. Like there are so many things that live in our energy, and they're so specific to each person that it's like we have to go really deeply into those things and go, what is here that doesn't need to be here and that is a specific block to this person, and then we clear those things out. So the second way that the person comes into your life after you've done all of that, the healing part of things, is that it's someone who's in your life right now, and they show up in a new way. So it's like someone that you just never thought of them that way, but maybe you go through something new together. It might be like a work colleague, and maybe you're working on a project, or you travel, you know, you go on a work trip together or something like that. You travel, and then you notice them in a different way. They start to look different to you because you've cleared out, you've healed all of these things. So it can be like people who are around us in our life that we see every day, that we're used to seeing every day, but now they feel different to us. And it can sometimes be that before we did the energy clearing, hey, Brandon, I'm glad you found me again, love. It can be that before we were attracted to drama, or we just thought that drama was normal. It felt familiar to us. But once we do that healing, it doesn't feel familiar to us anymore. What feels familiar to us is like safety. You know, what feels good to us, it is security. And not like the roller coaster of emotion, you know? So it changes after we do that healing. So it's like now we can see these people that are in our life that are around us right now. We see them in a new way. One of my clients, what happened with her was we did the deeper energy work. And then there was a man that she worked with, and she was a nurse. And this man that she worked with had been asking her out for a while. And she just wasn't really into it. She wasn't receptive to it. And he eventually one day he told her, and she was walking around with that, like, you know how we talk about resting bitch face, right? So she was walking around with that all the time, but he didn't see it that way. He didn't perceive it that way. To him, he thought, wow, she's an amazing woman, and somebody needs to make her happy. She deserves to be made happy. Like she deserves to be cheered up, you know? And so he told her, I really want to take you to a spa. And he'd been talking to her, or trying to talk to her, for weeks, right? But she didn't really see it that way. She didn't really she wasn't feeling it like he was. And she said, you know, he said to her, I really want to take you to a spa. And she was just like, what? That doesn't, like, I barely know you. Why would we go to a spa? And he said, no, I'm not trying to take you to a spa, like take you with me. I want to take you, drop you off, like pay for your treatments, and then, you know, take you home and drop you off. Like I just want to pamper you. I want to give you an experience. Like that's what I'm trying to give you. I want to give you an experience that makes you happy. I'm not trying to like do anything inappropriate or move too fast with you or anything like that. And she was just like, wow, that's never happened before. Nobody's ever like approached me in that way before. Hey, Jim. Hi, good to see you and your picture. So yeah. So that's the second way, right, that your person can show up in your life. The second way. The third way that your person can show up in your life and that I see. So the first way is someone from your past, they show up in a new way, and now you're attracted to them. You're able to hear them in a new way. You're able to see them in a new way, whatever the thing is, right? The second way is it's someone that's in your reality or day-to-day life right now, and they show up in a new way for you, right? It's like you can now see them because of the healing that you've done, because of the clearing that you've done, because of tending to your own energy and having some energetic shifts there, right? The third way is that you have someone in common with this person and you just don't have any idea yet, but you're about to be connected to them. So one of my clients, the way that happened with her was that her aunt was at the dry cleaners. I want to say she was at the dry cleaners, and there was a gentleman behind her, or a gentleman who was actually in front of her who gave up his spot in line for her, right? He was younger than her, and he just really deferred to her, right? He was just like, go ahead and have my place in line. It's okay. You go ahead and do it, right? Please take my spot. And she was like, wow, she was really impressed by him, and she felt like he was really just like a nice, she was the kind of person that, your aunt or your grandma would be like, what a nice young man, So she gave his number. She asked him for that if he was single, and then she gave him her niece's phone number. And they ended up getting married, okay? This was another client of mine. So it's like, and that happens so often where it's like, you just don't realize that right now you both have someone in common. You don't know that yet, but there's somebody who knows both of you who's going to introduce you. And those kinds of things happen once your energy is really open and receptive to that. And Andy says, it's so sad that we're not used to being treated the way we're supposed to be treated. That's absolutely true. And, it's kind of like, it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy, like a weird cycle. So it'll be like the first time that happens, it's a surprise and our feelings are hurt and it's really painful. But we create beliefs about why that happened so that we can make sense of it and protect ourselves from it happening in the future. So an example of that would be, let's say you're in a relationship and your heart is broken because the person cheats on you. So what you might do then is, instead of going, this is just a really unfortunate thing that happened to me, and it was heartbreaking, but it was really just unfortunate. Instead of us doing that, what we do is we go, well, that person cheated on me because all men are cheaters, or that person cheated on me because I'm not the kind of person that men choose to be faithful to, or that men value, or something like that. We create meaning. We add. We create a. We give that a meaning so that we can make sense of it. But a lot of times we're putting this meaning on it that wasn't actually there. But then we believe that it's true. And we only do that because we're trying to create a rule in our minds that will protect us in the future. We don't want to be hurt again. We don't want to be disappointed again. But by creating that rule in our minds, we actually begin to look for that more. It's like the people who behave in that way actually feel, on an energetic level, they feel familiar to us. And until we heal that, we mistake that feeling of familiarity as chemistry. We think we're feeling chemistry with that person, but it's really that they have the same wounds that we do, and that feels familiar to us. So until we actually heal that, once we heal that, then we can date. We can clear that out. We can heal that. But until then, it's like we just feel it. We're attracted to people with the same wounds as us, but we don't think that's what's going on. We think it's chemistry, but it's like there's a familiarity underneath. You feel familiar to me because you have the same wounds that I do. You feel familiar to me because you trigger me in the same way that someone triggered me in the past. It's a strange thing how motivated by familiarity human beings are. We will take familiar misery over something that is new and feels good, but it's unfamiliar to us. It's new. A lot of times when I'm working with my clients and they actually attract their right person at that point, they begin to self-sabotage so hardcore because it's new. So all of their self-sabotage things come up. It's crazy to get what you want. To get what you want and never have had that happen before is wild. And sometimes we need some help actually integrating that into us, energetically, and being like, not only the person that attracts that relationship, attracts that love, but the person who can sustain that relationship without self-sabotage, without being like, oh, I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. I'm going to start a fight so that I blow this situation up and create drama, because drama is what feels familiar to me, and I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. They're going to realize after they get to know me for a while that they don't want to be with me and they're going to break up with me, so I'm beating them to the punch. These are all things these thoughts that come up where we literally are sabotaging and undermining this relationship that we have drawn to us and asked for. It's crazy. But we do it. It's such a natural human thing, and it's so helpful if someone in your life can look at that, because we all have blind spots. Healers have blind spots. Therapists have blind spots. Healers have healers. Therapists have therapists. It's like we all have blind spots. It's just a human thing. And we need someone who really cares about us to look at that situation that we're in and say, hey, your intentions are not matching up with your actions. You're saying that you want this relationship. One of the classic kinds of self-sabotage things that I saw happen with one of my clients was that she really, really wanted to be in a relationship. She wanted to be in a happy relationship. And she went through all of the stages, right, that people go through when when we're doing our work together, right? So the first one is we go through really deep healing work. The second is we're doing really deep work about clarity. What is it that you want? Because you can see more clearly after you do the healing. The third thing is that we dive really deeply into what self-love actually means for you and creating what those routines are and what that means for you. The fourth part is that we literally do some energetic ritual work to help to attract this person to us. And then the fifth thing is that we're navigating this period of time between when we've called this person in and they actually show up in our lives, because that's such a tricky time. It's hard to keep our energy where it needs to be. And we often need help with that. That's called the leap of faith, right? And what people going through that experience is, in the beginning, it's crickets. They're not hearing anything. They go to work, they go home. Maybe they sometimes go out with their friends, but they're not seeing a significant shift, right? They're not seeing anything different in their lives. It's like that's at the point where a lot of times people reach out to me. So that's what they're experiencing, is like, I watch Netflix on my couch and my shorts or my sweats, right? And it's like comfortable, but it's kind of lonely, right? The next thing that they experience, because I work with women, the next thing that women often experience is that they begin to attract attention from men, but it's not great attention. And it's often men who are mostly interested in a physical relationship. and not really like compatible men, not the kind of men that they would actually want to date. And at that point, people start freaking out and they go, well, things aren't working for me. I'm just destined to always attract the wrong kinds of people.